Next up, you're going to want to add your basic mechanics to your game. So in this video, I'm just going to add gravity and collisions. So with our playable character, we're going to want them to be affected by gravity so that we can enable a jumping mechanic later on. And we're going to want it when it comes back down to be able to interact with the ground object, the platforms that we set up, so that it doesn't fall through and off the screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is to add my gravity to my playable character. Now, to add a property to a character or any other object on the screen, we use the add component option in the inspector. Now, in terms of finding those components, we can find them by looking through all of the different menus, or if we know what we're looking for, we can type in what we're after. So I want to add the gravity using a rigid body. So if I start typing in rigid body, it will come up with things that have those letters in. And as I'm doing a 2D game, I want the rigid body 2D option. So clicking that adds the rigid body property to my character. So essentially I've just added gravity to my character. To check that that has worked for me, I can use the play button at the top. When I click that play button, it will go into a game preview and it will show me that in fact gravity has been applied to that object. But we do have a little problem. And that is that my character falls straight through the platform. So we need to add something extra to both the platform and to the main character to stop that from happening. Okay, so before we do anything else, come out of play mode by clicking the play button again. If you do not do this, then any changes you make from now will not be saved. So make sure you do come out of play mode before making any changes you want to save. So now that I'm out of play mode, I can add one extra property to my main character, and that is a collider. So if I start typing in collider, you'll see that we come up with all sorts of different types of collider. Now, in terms of the ones that we want on our games, ours are 2D games, so anything that's got 2D at the end of its name is suitable. And basically, the different colliders provide us with a different shape around our character. As my character is not a regular shape, I will use my polygon collider, which should, if I zoom in, give me reasonably accurately a collider that goes fairly closely around the shape of the character. That one does, which is nice. Okay, so just coming back out into see the screen again, I can put that into play mode. I can see if anything's happened, anything's changed. And in fact, you can see that he's still falling through the ground. So we also need to add a collider to anything we want to be able to collide with. So in this case, the floor object, the platform, also needs a collider. As my floor object is a regular shape, I'll just use a box collider 2D on that because it is box shaped, and that should reasonably fit around the platform. Now, if you do find that your collider doesn't quite meet the edges of your actual image, say if you've got some blank space at the top of the platform image itself, we can always go into the edit collider option, and then we'll get some boxes, some little handles, which we can edit by dragging up or down, depending on what we want. And we can match that more closely to the edge of the platform. And once we're happy with that, we can again go into the play mode, which gives us the preview, and we can see what has happened. So we now have our character hitting the ground, but unfortunately falling over because our collider has to contend with these uneven feet. So how do we fix that? Well, we can go back in and we can edit that collider. Oh, sorry, we can edit the rigid body. My mistake. Okay, so in the rigid body, we do have some extra properties which we can go into. The one that we wanted to prevent our character from falling over is the freeze rotation property. So we literally just click on that. So we've got a tick in the Z box. Hit the play button again and check our character should stay standing upright. And our character does stay standing upright. You may or may not have that issue, but it's always worth popping the freeze rotation on, just so that if you do have an interaction where your character maybe hits the corner of a platform, that they don't spin and end up landing on their head or something. Okay, so that's the rigid body and the collider properties. Just to repeat, our character has rigid body and the collider. The rigid body applies the gravity to the character. The collider enables a collision to be detected by the engine. And our platform objects have just the collider on them. And that again enables the engine to detect a collision with other objects that have colliders. Boom.